This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Well, hey, good morning to you. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Here is a look at your First Alert Doppler radar picture. Yes, it's already starting to come in to the ArkLaTex in now the mid to late morning hours here. It's 10:30. It's First Alert Weather Breakdown time, and it is time to bring in our winter storm. Right now, we got mainly rain showers for those of you again south of I-20, maybe with a brief period of potential freezing rain or sleet that you see in the pink there. Right now, we're also getting some snow coverage up in areas far north of Texarkana, far north side of Texarkana, and also into McCurtain County at this point. We're going to go into this First Alert Doppler radar in so much more detail in just a moment. But let me stop by and say hi. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here in the Weather Center. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far in for your Thursday, and I hope you're watching this also indoors, too, in the process as well. Hopefully you don't have to be out for the day today, especially now that everything is starting to come along into the ArkLaTex, because, again, this is the start of almost 24 hours of dealing with this consecutively, which is really going to rack up a lot of rainfall. It's going to rack up a good amount of good chances for some ice and for some sleet. And also, in the northern edge of the region, a good amount of snowfall accumulation also expected up by Idabel and McCurtain County. So, thank you for those of you joining us on our Facebook live stream as well. I'm already seeing some comments coming in. Trust me, I will answer those in just a little bit. Just want to finish introing everything together. Thank you for watching on KSLA.com, on our live stream, on our YouTube platform as well. Just so you know, our YouTube platform and Facebook platforms, that's how you can communicate with me and make this a two-way conversation. Not only am I receiving reports coming in from Facebook. Something I was actually going to mention was it would be great to see some reports coming in from you guys about how the conditions actually are, where you currently are, outside your house, if you happen to be out in it right now. Getting reports would be fantastic because guess what? When it comes to rain events like this, although I'll always say the best thing to have is to have reports coming in from people who can see the weather in front of them rather than just looking at it on a radar picture. But especially when it comes to types of precipitation, that's going to be key to the reports coming in here for the day today. Obviously, because we could be getting a mix between anything between snow, to sleet, to freezing rain, to ice, to rain. Could be getting any type of precipitation all around the ArkLaTex, and again, our First Alert Doppler radar is starting to get filled up very quickly. So I'm seeing some reports coming in on Facebook. That's great. If you have any questions, you can also put that on Facebook or on YouTube as well. Whatever platform you're watching on, I will try to, just so you know, my computer to look at all those comments is going to be this way. I'm looking at it right now. So if you think I'm looking off into space, I'm just looking at your comments, essentially. We're going to go over a full forecast of everything all together. And then I'm just going to take time answering and also looking at all the comments coming on through. Just so you know as well, I will have my phone up. My phone is attached to my Slack, my work Slack right now. I don't have that set up on the computer right now. But eventually, what I'm trying to get at is we use Slack between me, government officials, and the National Weather Service. Really cool tool for all of us with the media to help kind of understand and get reports in from them that are actively out in different areas of the region and see what they're saying as well. And I will say one thing I've noticed the most from the reports that have come in off of government officials so far is a whole lot of sleet coming in, especially in eastern Texas right now. That's kind of a little hard to see because I'll go ahead and let you look at the First Alert Doppler radar here in just a moment before I get into I'm already starting to get into weather talk, but real quick, before we actually get into the radar and then the forecast, I just want to mention, where is it? I want to mention one last thing. Yes, the rundown. Live winter storm coverage, First Alert Weather Day. That's pretty much all we're doing here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. We don't have anything else going on. We don't have a Met Chat happening. We don't have CJ coming on. It's just me talking about the weather live, what's happening currently, and also giving a future forecast to what to expect, honestly, for the rest of tonight, and also heading into tomorrow. Because yes, this also lasts into tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is also a first alert weather breakdown, or first alert weather day. So especially for the morning hours, things don't start to die down around here until around this time tomorrow. So again, a full 24 hours of dealing with this. So anyways, let's get into the radar. Picture here right now as I'm going to start to move things around on my computer so I can set up my graphics real quick. First of all, we can do that real quick. So yes, there's another look at your first alert Doppler radar. Conditions are starting to move into Shreveport here in the next couple of minutes, basically any minute now. And we could see a brief, tiny shot. I'll zoom in on that radar in just a second. I'm just messing with the station bug there. Go away for now. All right. Before I look at some comments, I just want to give you a first little look into the radar and kind of zoom in and out of everything. All right, so here we go. Let's zoom into Shreveport, which I know some people are kind of intrigued about. Looks like we already have maybe a brief shot of maybe a little chance of freezing rain just coming into the region. Again, that's just a very thin line of pink that you see there, which indicates mixed precipitation potentially. Although I will say this, most of our reports in this shade of white that you see there around Mount Pleasant, Atlanta, what's moving into Texarkana right now, most of that report has been with sleet. It has not been with snow. Just so you know, you can hear sleet falling and hitting the ground. Snow is a lot softer. You can't really hear it as much, especially when it hits the pavement and hits the roadway overall. So this radar picture, I'm going to admit, it's a little deceiving because not all the white shade is surrounded with snow. Most of this is just indicated by temperature outputs by a radar picture in and of itself. But yeah, most of what we're getting in eastern Texas, especially north of I-20, has been sleet. Most of the south side, which I'll go ahead and show you right now, is rain. Out from Center to Carthage to Nacogdoches. Most of it's light rain for now, but it's the intensity of the rainfall is expected to pick up later on today as we continue with these widespread rain showers that go all the way to Natchitoches, to Coachella. Right about now, the only areas that haven't seen much of anything yet are areas around Minden, essentially, Magnolia as well, and some portions of southwestern Arkansas up by I-30 for the moment. I know it's a little hard to see as well, that little shade of white for the snow. Again, most of the reports that coming out on Mount Pleasant, especially with this line that's just moved through, is most of that's been sleet here for the moment. It could change to snow at any point. We have gotten snow reports in the last 10 to 15 minutes that have seen snow showers up in McCurtain County. In fact, I got a report just now on Slack that we do have a mix present in Texarkana and New Boston currently right now with that white shade moving on through. So again, a little deceiving, but yeah, we have sleet moving through in those areas. Watch out, especially with those mixed precip showers hitting those areas, because that can help the roadways, again, to lose friction and traction really quickly. All right, before I go into the rest of the forecast, I'm going to go look at Facebook real quick. I know there's been a number of comments everywhere. I'm going to try to respond to some. Nothing happening in Shreveport right now? Yes. Don't worry. This is just the very beginning of what is to come. That's what I was from Amanda. I'm just going to go from oldest to newest comments, essentially, coming on down the line. Paula says, Longview, very light dusting on the trees so far. Drizzling in Shreveport. Not sure if it's ice or not. It could potentially be just a tiny bit of ice, especially with that pink shade that's coming on that radar picture, which I'm going to zoom out on this actually real quick here for you so everybody can see where they are. There we go. So yeah, some of that pink shade is starting to head into Shreveport, but keep in mind it's a very thin line of pink, again, which indicates a little chance of some mixed precip coming down with some ice, which is very worrisome, especially out on those roadways around Shreveport. I will say, thankfully, and we'll look at this in the future track, I will say that the amount of rain, the coverage of the rain showers is expected to grow and move slightly northward as we carry on, especially into the heat of the afternoon, heating up the ground and heating up the atmosphere just enough to make that little ice layer probably move as far north as I-30 by Texarkana. All right, so before we get into the rest of the forecast, I'm going to keep looking at some comments. I know, oh my gosh, they continue to flood in. All right. So some Shreveport schools are starting to release students. I would not be surprised about that. We are already confused since the weather keeps changing. That's the fact of the weather. The weather keeps changing. It's a science. I am sorry. Look, if weather was perfect, there'd be no reason for me here, okay? It's sleeting. We're getting some reports of some sleet coming on through. Light rain in Bethany, Louisiana. Is I-49 open or closed? I-49 is open at this point, both north and southbound of Shreveport. They were actually originally scheduled to close I-49 near downtown Shreveport, but that's actually, I think that was put out 2 hours ago. They were not closing down I-49, at least for the moment, and the scheduling was canceled, especially. Starting at Texarkana, gotcha. Let snow in Minden. I'm not sure about that. We'll see. I don't think it's going to happen as far south as Bossier or Minden. I'm also seeing some reports of that possibly coming on through. All right. Bring it on. Nothing in Texarkana. All right. Ice in Fearson. I think that's what that says. Jerica, I think. Anyways, thank you guys for the comments coming on through. I will scroll through these. Especially after the forecast. I just want to do that really quickly at that point. YouTube, I don't see any comments coming on through right now. Thanks for the live tracking, Steven, of course. Also, I do not know. I know somebody literally just asked which schools are letting out in Shreveport. I have no idea. I am the weatherman, not the news person. I know the latest on schools. Other news peeps and the news station have more on that. Thank you for the report of rain in Bethany. We need snow in Longview. It might come. Brittany. It might come. All right. So, you're welcome for live streaming. I know we got a number of people in this chat right here right now, especially as the storm is starting to come into the ArkLaTex. All right. So, let's get into the forecast. I'm going to go back to comments in just a little bit, but I'm going to go over the forecast first. Then we'll go back to covering what's on the radar after I do the forecast, and I'll go back to the comments. Hope that makes sense. I got a real extended forecast here for you in our picture. All right, so here's what's happening. Low pressure out to our west. It's in Texas. It has got a lot of moisture with it. You're seeing those shades of yellow and even some of those high cloud tops and reds. It just shows a plethora of moisture rotating around this low pressure system, and it's kind of weird because usually when you see a low-pressure system in Texas, you think, well, it's dragging warm air out of the Gulf of Mexico, which you would actually be correct to some degree. We're actually building warmer temperatures above the surface, actually for areas of Texas and Louisiana, which is also supplying the rain. It's supplying the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, actually. But because we have this cold air jet, especially at the surface that's rotating around the low-pressure center, that is originating around Canada, we have cold air trapped at the surface, which is giving us cold air, again, right on the ground level, but up above, it's actually pretty warm if you travel up a little bit of a ways above the atmosphere, which is actually the perfect profile for ice. That's what we've seen a good amount so far in Texas early this morning, further into central Texas, not here yet for the moment, although, again, we are getting reports of sleet already in most of our East Texas counties. Here's the National Weather Service. This is what they've issued watches and warnings for us here for today. We have a winter storm warning in effect for, areas it's basically in effect for those counties and parishes that are either at or above I-20. This includes all of southwestern Arkansas. This includes all of southeastern Oklahoma. This also includes northeastern Texas, includes Longview, Marshall, Shreveport, Bossier. Anything in the white you see there is under a winter weather advisory as well. Essentially what this means, if you're in the pink, you have a chance of snow today. I will go ahead and say that. You have a chance to get snow showers today and mixed precipitation. If you are in the winter weather advisory, I think you just have a tiny shot of getting maybe the slimmest chance of sleet or freezing rain or ice. But it's mostly going to be rain. And for example, if you're in Natchitoches or Nacogdoches, which are the only areas not under an advisory or warning, you're expecting only rain from the day today, and it's just a typical rainy day, to be quite frank with you. So Shreveport, for example, is kind of just right on the edge of being on that winter storm warning. Again, we're expecting most of the mixed precip and the snow to be honestly up by high 30, but in the extreme case of uncertainty, which, again, we're playing with a very thin layer and a thin margin of error with these temperatures here, that if they really drop enough, yes, the snow layer could technically go as far south as the ArkLaTex border, or maybe Shreveport. Overall, for Shreveport, just so you know, in general, I'm expecting somewhere around 80%. I'm expecting 80 to 90% rain and maybe a 10 to 20% chance of freezing rain mixed in there. That could still prove to be dangerous, especially on the roadways. Rain is obviously something you got to watch out for anyways, but let's go to our future track, and I'll kind of case in point show you what's going on here. So again, it's now 11 a.m. We're filling up more of the ArkLaTex bit by bit with rain, ice, and snow. Before we get into 9 p.m., I actually want to backtrack a little bit to the afternoon. Watch how high and watch how far north that ice layer goes. That goes as far north as Texarkana, even a few spots into southwestern Arkansas above I-30 even. So that ice layer reaches incredibly far north in the heat of the afternoon, and I'm not really expecting any bits of mixed precip, no snow in for areas of certainly I-20, but the rest of the region, quite frankly, with that heavy snow mainly packed into McCurtain County and areas just to the north side of Mount Pleasant. Then once we get into tonight, obviously this continues to be widespread precipitation still everywhere. Obviously that ice layer starts to drift a little bit farther south, especially as we head into the overnight hours and into early tomorrow morning. But if you notice, again, look at the time, 4 or 5 a.m., we still have widespread rain, widespread ice, widespread snow packed into the ArkLaTex with this system moving on through. And especially with a continual ice and freezing rain coverage between the snow and rain continuing to pile some region of the ArkLaTex, which for now, according to this future track, and I will say most likely, this ice layer kind of just ends up in between I-20 and I-30, somewhere along I-49. I'd probably say more likely around the Arkansas-Louisiana border. And then you head into early tomorrow morning. That's where that ice layer can almost reach as far south as I-20 again in East Texas and also around Shreveport potentially early tomorrow morning. Yes, this is still something that continues again early into tomorrow morning with snow into Texarkana, Mount Pleasant, into Queen. And it looks like after the early morning hours of tomorrow, that's when our coverage finally starts to let loose. And I didn't mean to go that quickly, actually. Our coverage starts to let loose by pretty much lunchtime, and then definitely by the afternoon, we're completely dried out. But the sake of the matter is that we are doing this for almost 24 consecutive hours again. So this is something to stay first alert about. All right, so let's recap this in a little map here, shall we? So first of all, the snow. The heavy snow is up by McCurtain County and essentially the northern edge of the region. I mean, there's some areas around Idabel and the Queen that could get localized snow as much as 8 inches, which is an impressive amount. For Texarkana, especially because of how high that and how far north that ice layer is going to get, I'm only foreseeing about 1 inch to 3 inches of snow mixed in with that freezing rain, which is going to make it a kind of a sloppy mess. We got even more messy conditions along with that ice, especially on the roadways. And again, most of that ice layer is essentially right in between I-20 and I-30. And Shreveport is kind of right on the very edge, again, just to get a little chance of maybe some ice, maybe some freezing rain that could be occurring now. And could be occurring also for tomorrow morning. And then pretty much anywhere below I-20, it's just a rainy day. Although I will say the rain that we do get is going to be continuing on again continuously and persistently for the next 24 hours. And on top of that, at the end of the day for Natchitoches, for example, we're going to be getting somewhere in the ballpark of 2 inches of rain from this, actually, from Natchitoches and Shreveport, which is actually a pretty intense amount in just a short band of time. There you can see the rainfall potential. It is 2 inches of solid rainfall from areas of I-20 southward towards Natchitoches and Nacogdoches. There is less, basically, for the northern half of the ArkLaTex because, most of theirs is going to be mixed with snow. And snow is actually, it's contained technically in the rainfall potential, but the main focus I wanted to have for that graphic was for the southern end of the region, again, which could have as much as 2 inches of rainfall. All right, so here's the road impacts. The two big impacts from the system that could affect our daily lives is number one, power outages. We'll keep track of that throughout the day today, especially with ice forming on some of those on branches, on power lines, things like that that could affect there. But number two is the roadways. If you don't have to go out overall, please don't. Overall, it's going to be a little bad for the afternoon, especially kind of starting now in a way in Shreveport, but by the early afternoon hours on I-20, it's looking a little bad, with just some typical rainy, slick spots for the most part. Again, that ice layer can reach technically as far south as I-20, but it's not likely at this point. But overall, that rain continues all the way through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. So things don't improve around here on I-20 until tomorrow afternoon. But things are certainly worse in the northern half of the region on I-30, closer to all that wintry precipitation. And it's especially going to get bad tonight and tomorrow morning, especially with more layers of snow piling up on the roadways. And I'd say it's already starting to get bad now with reports of sleet already in some of the towns that are bordering I-30. Mount Pleasant, New Boston, Texarkana have already received all reports of sleet already so far here this morning. Things finally don't start to improve really until tomorrow afternoon, but things don't really start to get their best until probably tomorrow night. So you're hunkering down starting now for, again, the next 24 hours or so. So one more forecast to kind of help you out with going over town by town. I can help answer some of the questions. I know we've gotten so many comments. I will start answering comments after this forecast, after a quick break, coming up in just a little bit. But for Natchitoches, it's only rain. Now, I'm only expecting rain. That's it. Shreveport, I'm expecting 80% rain and maybe a slim chance of some freezing rain to be tucked in there. Sadly, I don't foresee any snow showers at all because I'm kind of a fan of snow. But anyways, that's what's happening in Shreveport. Texarkana, it's going to be mainly a mix of snow and freezing rain. I'm expecting probably equal amount of both of them. Again, they're already receiving reports of sleet, too, which could be, again, tucked in along with the freezing rain. So just something to watch out for. Again, as we head throughout the night tonight, I think Texarkana will have the most severe weather impacts from this, meaning the most severe impact from the snow and the wintry weather overall out of any of these three towns. Again, Natchitoches, it's going to be a rainy day. Shreveport, maybe a few instances of some mixed precipitation, but overall, I think it's going to be mostly rain here in the Shreveport-Bossier area. Overall, first alert weather days for both today and tomorrow. Again, this continues through tomorrow morning. Our wintry weather finally starts to dry up pretty much now by around just about lunchtime tomorrow. So a long way to get through. I will say, last thing before we take a quick break, nothing but sunshine in the forecast ahead, especially for the weekend. 53 is also the high on Sunday. It gets a little warmer as well around here heading into the weekend and also heading into next week. And thankfully, a nice, calm, dry period. At least last the next 6 days or so. Our next chance of wet weather after this system doesn't appear to come until the following Friday or Saturday. So it's still not for quite some time. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. Drink of water. Get my voice back together. When I come back, I'm essentially just going to go over the radar again one more time and maybe answer a few more questions and probably stick around for another 15, 20 minutes or so. I'll give you that. Maybe a little bit longer. We'll see. But yeah, I'll be answering comments, looking at comments and questions, all of that on our Facebook feed, our YouTube feed. Let me just go get a drink of water and go get my voice back, give my voice a break. Anyways, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Thanks. All right, welcome back. I'm back. All right. Whew. Let's go pop up back the graphics. Pop up back the radar picture. All right. So I've been looking at some comments also during the break. First of all, let me talk a little more into the microphone. I've been looking at some comments during the break already on Facebook, things like that. Yeah, I get reports of some sleet, I think briefly in Shreveport. Look, I know I said slight chance of sleet, and I think that might have happened very briefly just now, actually. But what I said is for a sleet chance. What I said is a slight chance of sleet for Shreveport, mainly because the majority of the precipitation is rain, and if you look at the current Doppler radar, it is also already starting to change back over to rain, especially as we continue to drive in rain from the south and west into Shreveport. Meanwhile, I'm actually, before I answer more comments, I'm going to read off some of the reports that we've gotten in to our Slack team with our government officials and National Weather Service that is scattered throughout the ArkLaTex. I've gotten a report of a mixture in Texarkana about 15 minutes ago. We've gotten some snow in McCurtain County, some reports around there. Excuse me. Some sleet that's been falling in a mix so far in Texarkana, from Texarkana to New Boston, also including Mount Pleasant too. Shreveport for now, it looks like some of you have been seeing a little bit of something other than rain briefly, but again, some of that Doppler radar indicates that we're going to be quickly changing back over to rain momentarily. All right. So let's look at the radar picture for now, as we do have rain continuing to fill Natchitoches and pretty much fill the entire region. Everything's looking light for the moment, but that's looking to easily change for this afternoon. All right, let me peep away the graphics so I can look at the comments around. Show Bossier City. I'll do that again. Snowing in Vivian. Yeah, looks like we do have some of that actually on the radar. That's actually pretty intriguing for you there. Let me take a quick look at that actually real quick. I'm going to zoom in to Shreveport. Somebody wanted me to show Bossier as well with Vivian. So yeah, it might be. We've gotten lots of sleet reports again from Texarkana over to New Boston, which is north of Vivian. But not surprised to maybe see a few little pockets of some snow tucked into there, as indicated by this first alert Doppler radar. And it looks like for Bossier for now, just got a little hint of some sleet there. I'll even zoom in even further for you in Bossier real quick. Looks like, again, we might have received just a brief shot of sleet for now, or freezing rain. But, again, we're bringing up rain and slightly warmer air out of the south and west that is already indicating that some of our precip could be changing over into rain. But, again, we're going to be riding this fine line between rain and snow somewhere between I-20 and I-30 all day long today, and also for tomorrow morning. So, again, it's just a matter of how far that ice line dips southward, and for now, it's dipping way far south into I-20 for the moment. Houghton may be getting in on some of these mixed showers in for the moment. All right. So, snowing in Vivian. To me, let's see. I would love for it to snow and sleet. Send snow to Cali. Oh, it is terrible what's happening over in California. I'll go ahead and say that really quickly, but that's the most I'm going to say about that. Brandon says, I'm more concerned about tonight into the morning for the northern parts of Caddo and Bossier. I got to agree with you there. If you don't have to travel, please don't. I will just say that, number one. Number two, especially if you're in northern Caddo and Bossier parishes, you have greater chances of getting that freezing rain and ice, which can definitely look to freeze over some of those roadways. We haven't seen any traffic alerts yet. Major ones coming in, which is good, but that can easily change, I will say, very, very quickly. So watch out for that. Moving on forward. It is raining in Scottsdale. Thank you for the report, Tim Angela. As I said, I appreciate reports because guess what? Some of this first alert Doppler radar, I'm going to admit, is not the most reliable. Zooming back out, Again, we've gotten some reports of sleet, mainly with this line that's moving through I-30 from New Boston to Texarkana. Again, sleet, not snow. And what we mean by that is the fact that you can hear sleet. You can hear sleet. It kind of looks a little bit like snow, but you can actively hear sleet hitting the roadways and the pavement. Snow makes a lot more of a softer sound, so soft you can't hear it and nearly as much. So that's kind of the difference between that. So even though we have some, obviously, white shades going into Linden, into Texarkana in the next couple of minutes, it looks like on this first alert Doppler radar, yeah, some of that is looking to be sleet, actually. And then we're getting mostly just reports of very cold rain for those of you, again, south of I-20 for the most part. Maybe that leading edge, just a brief shot of some sleet or freezing rain. Even our radar wants to indicate maybe a slight chance of even just some snow really quickly moving into Jonesboro. But again, it's just quick like that. As I said, we had a slight chance of some sleet and mixed precip for Shreveport, and that might have already happened with just that initial line pushing on through, and now the line might move northward, so to speak. All right, let's go over some more comments real quick. Dag says, so they're shutting stuff down because I refuse to go on 220. They haven't shut anything down yet. I haven't noticed anything traffic-wise showing any slowdowns, any closures for the moment, but it can easily change, especially as I think we're going to start getting some heavier amounts of precipitation as we progress into the afternoon. Heavier rain, heavier freezing rain, heavier ice, heavier snow. Hope that makes sense. Just heavier amounts of everything. We just had a freezing rain start and stop 15 minutes ago, says Stephanie. Yeah, that sounds about right, especially if you're in Shreveport and Bossier. Why is Bossier keeping the schools open? Well, I am not in charge of Bossier schools. I was going to say we all thought it was a little weird, at least me personally. I understand you're kind of on the fine line, and most of what you're going to get is rain anyways in Shreveport and Bossier, but even the rain, under the rain, it is still cold and rainy, and that continues for the rest of today. That's never a fun picture to be out in, period, regardless. The 12 NAM was picking up on freezing rain and ice later today into Friday morning. That is true. Again, we have a big swath of freezing rain and ice that is coming on in. And some of the, even though our first alert Doppler radar, again, is showing some shades of white, for example, in Oil City and Vivian, we got a report of maybe some potential snow in Vivian, further in northern Caddo Parish. We've gotten some reports of sleet from Atlanta, Texarkana, and New Boston, though, that have been moving on through. So there's in these shades of white, again, as I keep saying, there could be some ice and some sleet mixed in there, even though our radar picture just says just flat out just a shade of white, for example. A mix in Jefferson. Thank you for the report. Thank you very much for the report for that. Sleet and rain. It is raining in northern Shreveport, but very cold. That's likely your forecast for the rest of the day, unfortunately. How's it looking for Ruston? We'll go out to Ruston real quick. Hold the phone. Ruston. Well, I think for now they're one of the few areas that's still completely dry from this. Maybe a brief shot of some snow briefly, or freezing rain or sleet, especially along that leading edge. But then most of Ruston is honestly expecting just rain. The greater ice chances, especially along the I-20 corridor, are actually out towards Marshall. Marshall and Longview, those kind of areas actually have a slightly greater chance of getting some ice compared to Shreveport. I did say slightly, though. Still not an amazing chance, but we'll see. All right. Let's see. It's snowing here. I don't know where here is. Patricia, I'm sorry. How is tonight going into tomorrow? Tonight is, so the thick of the system is honestly moving through probably this afternoon and tonight. I know it's already starting now, but most of the light coverage is starting now. We're expecting heavier concentrations of everything between rain, freezing rain, ice, snow, all of that to continue to hit mainly into the afternoon and into tonight as well. All right. So when is it going to start sleeting here in Shreveport? Yes, it has a small chance of sleet for Shreveport. You might have already gotten that, honestly, with the quick first round coming on through. But again, I'm expecting 80% rain for Shreveport and a 20% chance of sleet out of our overall precipitation. So that means I could still see like sleet and freezing rain creeping into Shreveport, but the majority of the moisture, if not all, moving forward, should be rain. So that's what I'm going to talk out of that. Kashada, as you can see on the radar, it's mostly rain coming on in. Most of that quick little first line of looks like freezing rain and sleet there potentially is moving into Ringgold and potentially up into high 20 in areas east of Shreveport. Heavy starting what time? Let's go back. Let's see if I can actually bring up the future track one more time here. I got to dig up the future track for just a second. I actually want to bring up another future track for you guys. Sometimes we use different weather models to give us different ideas. All right, so obviously that is not. It looks a lot more widespread now than what it is on that picture. By 5 p.m. tonight, it certainly gets a lot more widespread. And then watch the shades of yellow, because you already know that, well aware that the yellow shades are more moderate and heavier rain showers coming on in. That looks to come in probably late tonight, starting around, according to this future track, and I agree with it, more towards 5, 6 o'clock tonight, and by the late night hours tonight, look at that, 9, 10 o'clock, we could be getting heavy rain packed into Shreveport and Minden, with that ice line in between I-20 and I-30. This also looks to include heavy snowfall. If you look really closely at those shades of blue up in Texarkana, that indicates heavy snowfall around Texarkana too. So still be on the watch out for that. That's going to be heavier precipitation, essentially moving through the late night hours tonight, and then moving out mostly by tomorrow morning. So I'm going to go back to the radar picture while I answer more questions real quick. I'm going to stay on for another 5-10 minutes, and then I got to skedaddle. And real quick, for those of you just starting to head out, if you do want to head out, we do have our next weather update is going to come from Austin. Austin Evans is already on the clock. He's already getting the latest information on the weather desk over there, keeping you first alert and first aware. He will have more info just coming up at noon after this live stream ends. He'll be on the noon show coming on up. All right, back to comments. Again, I'll still be on for another 5-10 minutes. Will Caddo schools be closed tomorrow? I don't know. I figure no. I think they'll still be open, which I know might be a little worrisome, especially because things are still expected to be pretty, I wouldn't say intense, but there could still be some mixed precip around here for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, though, looks fine. I will say that. What about Texarkana? Texarkana, I believe we've gotten repeat reports of some sleet around there in that area. I'm just looking back at some of the reports that have come in on our call. Yeah, looks like snow in the main snow reports so far have been only from McCurtain County and Idabel. We've received mostly sleet, actually, in most of those northeast Texas counties and Texarkana here for the moment. I will say that. Natchitoches, mostly rain. It's just going to be a rain event for you. That's it. It starts now. It goes for the next 24 hours, which can, again, rack up a good amount of rainfall, but the worst you're worried about in like Natchitoches is maybe a little chance of flash flooding because of how long it's raining and because of the intense amounts of rain that we could really pack in late tonight. But there's no mixed precip. There's no snow for Natchitoches. That's one of the things we can be fully confident on. There. What about Bossier schools? I don't know much about the schools. I'm sorry. I know they're still in, I believe, out of last check here for today and tomorrow. Longview. Looks like you're mostly getting rain for now. Looks for the moment. It looks like right now, you can see right there, I can zoom in that radar picture just a little bit more. Over towards Longview and Marshall and Scottsville. So yeah, just a good amount of light rain in for now. We received a report in from Jefferson about 5 to 10 minutes ago of some mixed precip, which is just to the north side of Marshall. So it looks like you're getting rain for the moment. Longview does have a little chance for some ice here, though, later on tonight and also heading into tomorrow morning. So watch out for that. Let's see here. Just looking all around. What does travel look like for tomorrow morning? Not good. Tomorrow morning, not good. Tomorrow afternoon, it should be completely cleared up. But tomorrow, especially in the early morning hours, it looks like especially with it being in the early morning, the coldest part of the day, that ice level could go as far south as Shreveport for tomorrow morning in the I-20 corridor with a good amount of snow potential, actually in areas like Mount Pleasant, Texarkana, basically those areas along I-30 and northward. So that's where we're watching out for that. Sleet and Marshall, thank you for the report, Devin. So yes, there's sleet and Marshall, a little bit mixed in with some of the rain there. Some of those brief shades of pink that you see there. There's even a few shades of white if you look really closely in between some of those shades of green. So yeah, this is what we mean by a mix of things and happening around happening between that rain and snow layer. So yes, we're getting some freezing rain, says Shanna. I'm live outside, Jason. Nothing is happening. I don't know where you are. Gotta say location. I'll be on for another probably 3 to 5 minutes, just so you know. Sleet just started in Hooks, Texas, in Bowie County. See, and the thing is, that's a report from. Thank you very much. Who is that? Sandra. Thank you very much for that report. Actually, from Hooks, Texas, because again, let me change the radar a little bit here. Going up into Hooks, Texas, is essentially next to New Boston, in between New Boston and Texarkana. I mean, according to the radar picture, it just looks like it's snow. But again, if you can hear it, it is sleet. So a whole lot of mixed precip is coming in with this system right now, in between I-20 and I-30 with a lot of rain south of I-20 for now. And it looks like we've gotten a couple of snow reports again for those areas above I-30 for the moment. All right. I'm just going to answer a few more things. Rustin. Let me go over to Rustin. Thank you for being patient, by the way. With me. Rustin. Just real quick. So it looks like you might get a brief shot of some snow. Again, keep in mind, take this little gray/white shade with a little bit of an asterisk, because again, we've gotten some reports of people underneath the white shades on the radar, and they said it's been mostly sleet. So I will say it's looking like something different than rain coming into Ruston just very soon, but you do have rain behind that, and most of it is rain coming up into the I-20 corridor for those south of Shreveport. It's just the leading edge of that system leading into Ruston could just be briefly some sleet and some freezing rain hitting some of those roadways. All right. I think I'm going to answer one or two more, and then I'm going to wrap it up, or just like one or two more. Yes, sleet in Linden, Texas. Thank you for the report. A whole lot of sleet coming on through, and on several of these reports, I will say, coming on into our news desks here in the ArkLaTex. Again, thank you very much for watching. It is sleeting in Bossier on our YouTube page. Ivy Teacher, thank you for the report on our YouTube page. Sleet in Bossier. Damien says thank you. Of course, you are absolutely welcome. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up actually now. Thank you very much for watching our Facebook feed. We're going to have so many of these throughout the day. Trust me. Again, the next coverage that I can guarantee you, unfortunately, I'm just about out of here. I have done my 9 hours of due diligence here. Our next live coverage is going to be at noon. You can download our First Alert Weather Radar. While I say all this, let me actually zoom out on the First Alert Doppler picture. You can go ahead and see all the areas around the ArkLaTex while I'm kind of wrapping it up on the talk here. Again, you can download our First Alert Weather app, KSLA News 12, First Alert Weather Team, First Alert, or that's the name of the team. KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather is the name of the app. It's been a long day for me. You can download that app and get the very latest on there for the latest weather radar, all the reports, everything, the latest weather forecasts, all you need, everything for what you need to know is up to date is on that page. Yes, I can leave you off with that. I still might try to update my own personal social or my own professional social media for the rest of the day. Again, it's meteorologist Evan Thomas, and that's my Facebook page. I'll try to do that for the rest of the day. I have some social media updates of what to expect in for today on that social media page myself. What else can I tell you about? I think that's mostly it. The last thing, I guess 2 last things I want to say is, first of all, the next coverage that I can definitely guarantee you is our noon show. Austin Evans, meteorologist Austin Evans, will be doing that, and he'll be having most of the coverage throughout the daytime today until Matt Jones gets here in just a little while. So you can turn to him and turn to the noon show on KSLA News 12 for the very latest. Then, as for KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Guess what? We will have this podcast again at this time, 10:30. Hopefully, all of this coverage will start to finally wrap up by the time we do this podcast again tomorrow. We'll air it again on Facebook, on YouTube, on all of our platforms as well. I just want to say thank you very much for watching an entire week's worth of First Alert Weather Breakdown, just about. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, you have a great rest of your day. We'll be on again tomorrow, 10:30. Be there, be square, and most importantly, especially on our KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Day, be weather aware. You have a great rest of your day, and drive safe if you need to drive safe, and again, stay weather aware. Have a good one.